Sure. Thank you, Hannah. I was going to an event on Tuesday in a World Affair Council in Los Angeles. A friend of mine invited me, and I was very pleased to go. I was lucky to actually ask a question to the Secretary General about the situation in Iraq. And when before that, I actually called my uncle, telling him which he lives in Baghdad, and he's a political analyst, and usually I discuss these kind of things with him. Um, my uncle asked me to if I had the chance to ask the Secretary General a question, and I didn't have the chance to ask him two questions actually. So I just did ask him my own question. On the way back on Wednesday, I went to LAX through Southwest Terminal 1. My flight was at Gate 10. And I was texting my uncle that I am sorry I couldn't ask your question. I didn't have the time, and I will call you when I get into the plane. Once I sat on the plane, my ticket was A58, so I was one of the first people to go inside the plane. And I talked to my uncle, and I told him about the event.
Yeah, and you were talking in
And
Arabic?
I was talking in Arabic all of the time. Actually, I didn't speak in English at all because he's my uncle. I mean, I'm going to speak Iraqi with him.
Sure.
And one lady, she was standing sitting, sorry, in front of me. She turned around and she kept looking. And at some point, I realized that she's looking at me. So I told my uncle, I will call you when I get there. And my uncle, he was telling me, call me when you land. And I told him, inshallah, I will call you if
God
God is
willing.
willing. Yes, it's a phrase that I think most of the Middle East people use it. All of the Arab use that phrase, the Arabs, sorry.
And this is the word that the other passenger felt threatened by in some way. Is that right?
She left the plane immediately after I hung up the phone, and 2 minutes later, they had to remove me from the plane. One guy came and he said, "You need to step out of the plane, sir," and I had to leave the plane.
And then you were questioned by the FBI. What was your treatment like by them? Did you feel threatened yourself?
Well, before the FBI, the guy who actually pulled me out, he was a little bit disrespectful. I couldn't. He kept saying that, look, what you have done. The plane is we already have a delay 30 minutes because of you. And I told him it's not me. This is what Islamophobia got this country into. And he told me, you know what, you're not going back to the plane. And the police officer reached to his device, which is in his shoulder, and said, close to his shoulder, and said, call the FBI, call the FBI. So we waited for the FBI about 45 minutes. But the treatment that I have by Southwest, by security forces and the police, it wasn't respectful. As a matter of fact, it was outrageous to treat me that way.
And just to clarify, so you were speaking in Arabic, and is that where you think that the problem lies, if you like? If you were speaking in Italian, say, for example, you don't think that this problem would have arisen at all?
I actually, I told my mother I need to learn Chinese because it seems very peaceful. So when I go to the plane, I'll start speak Chinese next time. Maybe I won't be pulled out of the plane.
I know you're still waiting, as you said earlier, for an apology from Southwest Airlines. They have released a statement. I just want to read it to you now. The statement reads, "We wouldn't remove a passenger from a flight without a collaborative decision rooted in established procedures." And it goes on to say, "Southwest neither condones nor tolerates discrimination of any kind. Our company could not survive if we believed otherwise." What's your reaction, first of all, to that statement?
Well, I will tell them I am the prime example of your discrimination. And actually, my message is to the American people that I wanted to tell them it is important that we decipher from the ongoing situation of the war on terror and understand that the problem is not Muslims and Islam, but rather those extremists fabricating the essence of Islam as ground to justify their outrageous crimes. And if we keep getting these kind of discrimination, then we will be selling that narrative to these terrorist groups.
Let me just press you on this one point, though. Do you believe that it's unfair for anyone to be questioned? I mean, I suppose the point is, if any other passenger feels threatened, then of course it's surely the duty of the airline to at least investigate why they feel threatened. Was it just the manner in which you were questioned afterwards, which is why you're so upset?
The whole process.
Okay.
This is not the way to question. We are innocent until proven guilty.
Sure.
And even if there is a security threat, this is not the way to treat a human being.
Okay.
It's not a way to grade a human being.